Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Going to be giving you my player ratings from our 0-0 draw with Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. So David De Gea, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. He made some good saves in the game, like I mentioned on the match reaction. Most of the saves were straightforward saves, but he made a fantastic save to deny Hakim Ziyech. That was the best chance of the game. De Gea did actually make an error in the game. It could have been costly, but obviously it wasn't. So yeah, 7 out of 10 for De Gea. And like I've mentioned, he has had some good games this season, but he's also had bad games. But De Gea is going to remain our number one for at least this season. We could sell De Gea in the summer. Solskjaers already warned De Gea that his number one jersey is under threat, and Paul Scholes was talking not so long ago saying that De Gea is becoming a real problem for Man United. You know, a few years ago he was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world, but in the last couple of years he's made too many mistakes, and reflecting on that, he's become a liability. And Wan-Bissaka, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. At the start of the game, he pressed really high up the pitch. But he also left space in behind a few times in the game. You know, he was getting caught out. I think Wan-Bissaka's improved at Man United. I just think he needs to show more attacking intent. You know, that's my element of concern about him at the moment. He's not attacking enough. But defensively, he's actually very good. Victor Lindelof, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. I don't think he was brilliant, to be honest with you. I think Solskjaer needs to take Lindelof out of the team, and he needs to play Bay ahead of Lindelof, because Bay and Harry Maguire complement each other in our back line well, but Lindelof and Harry Maguire don't complement each other. So I don't really understand why Solskjaer isn't starting Bay, because Bay's a much better centre-half than Lindelof. My only element of concern about Bay is that he's injury prone, so in that aspect he is a liability. He recently said we was in talks over getting Bay a new deal. Harry Maguire, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Had some sloppy moments in the game, but there were some parts of the game where his passing looked good and he got forward quite well. Harry Maguire has enjoyed some good games this season, but he's also enjoyed bad games, but certainly wasn't worth the £80 million we got him for. He's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment, and he's the second most expensive signing at the club. 6 out of 10 for him then. Luke Shaw, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I thought he enjoyed a good game today. Put some good crosses into the box. Got forward well. And Luke Shaw's really improving at Manchester United. And Luke Shaw still remains our first choice left back, despite the arrival of Alex Telles last summer. Because obviously when we got Telles, we all expected him to be our first choice left back, but hasn't happened. Telles has played nowhere near as much as I expected. But to be honest, I prefer Shaw to Telles because he gets forward better than Telles does. Shaw's had a good career at Man United apart from his injuries. You know, Shaw's been at the club now over 6 years. We got Shaw from Southampton back in 2014 for £30 million. Fred, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. He looks good in certain parts of the game, but I thought he was quite poor in other parts of the game. Fred has enjoyed some very, very good games at Man United under Solskjaer, but there's been some games where he hasn't been at his best. Fred's made over 100 appearances now for the club in all competitions. Fred as well, he had 2 good chances in the game. He had a long-range effort that just went wide, it curled. And I think he had a chance that produced a save from Mendy. Scott McTominay, I'm going to give him 6 out of 10. McTominay actually had a very good chance in the game. Produced a good save from Mendy. I don't think he was poor, McTominay, but certainly weren't at his best. But McTominay has enjoyed good games this season. McTominay's best game this season was the 6-2 win against Leeds. He also did very well against Watford in the FA Cup third round. And he did well in the 9-0 win against Southampton. I'm actually surprised McTominay started today, because I didn't think he'd have started, because he was actually a doubt before this game. So he has now obviously come back from injury. Bruno Fernandes, I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10. I thought he was poor today, was Bruno Fernandes. That final pass let him down. And he was dispossessed a few times in the game. There's been a few games now where Bruno Fernandes has looked off the pace. But in most of his games at Man United, he has been very, very consistent. He has made a difference in the team. Fernandes has won Player of the Month now quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. Fernandes did say on his 12-month anniversary that he's planning on spending many years at Man United. Obviously, he wants to help the club win trophies. We've certainly overplayed him. So just a 5 out of 10 for him. Mason Greenwood, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Mason Greenwood had only 1 shot in the whole game and it just went wide. So it was pretty quiet today, to be honest with you, Mason Greenwood. The vast majority of his performances have been very, very good since he got into our first team squad. He made his debut for us in 2019. Mason Greenwood's been at the club since the age of 7 and he's made 80-odd first-team appearances now. Not so long ago he signed a new 4-year contract with Man United. That keeps him at the club until June 2025. There's also an option to extend for a further year. Ollie's been defending him a lot this season, Mason Greenwood. Didn't really have much of a perception on him earlier on this season, because don't forget, at one point he had illness, 1 point he had personal issues, and at 1 point he had injury. To start this season, we give Greenwood that number 11 shirt. So there you go. Marcus Rashford, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I thought Rashford made some very, very good runs in the game. I thought what let Rashford down was the passing from his teammates. Rashford actually started centrally. And like I've said, I don't think he's really that good centrally. I prefer Marcus Rashford out wide on the left-hand side, because that's where he's more effective. By the way, Rashford did have a good chance from a free kick in the game, produced a good save from Mendy. Rashford has been part of the club for several years. He's been a United player since the age of 7 and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. A lot of United fans have said Rashford does need a rest, because we've played him a hell of a lot, especially under Solskjaer. But he is a good player. Obviously, he's enjoyed his bad periods, hasn't he? Obviously, when Rashford has been very poor, obviously he's got in front of goal and his decision-making's been poor. His passing's been quite poor and his finishing's been quite poor. Daniel James, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I thought he enjoyed a pretty good game today, Daniel James. Looked very influential in the attacking third of the pitch. But to be honest with you, I thought Daniel James looked better off the ball than on the ball. Daniel James has been playing a hell of a lot recently, surprisingly, because Daniel James didn't, play for a while. And he's getting his way back into the team now, persistently. Don't forget there was narratives of Daniel James leaving the club back in January. I think we'll keep him, Daniel James. People say he is a good backup. Solskjaer only brought one substitution on in the game, and that was Anthony Martial, and I'll give him a 6 out of 10. I thought Solskjaer made the wrong decision by bringing Anthony Martial on. Martial has been out of form for the vast majority of this season. He's had chances, but he just hasn't converted them. But Solskjaer said prior to this game that he's been impressed with Anthony Martial's work rate, and he's backed him to rediscover his form. But Martial was good last season, and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. He's been at the club now over 5 years. So that is your player ratings from our 0-0 draw with Chelsea. We was denied a penalty in the game. The VAR penalty decision was the talking point of the game. Like I said on Match Reaction, I've just looked at it, and it does hit Callum Hudson-Odoi's hand. Obviously, Mason Greenwood and Callum Hudson-Odoi were in a tussle. VAR looked at it, but they overturned the penalty. Solskjaer gave his perception on it, and he said it was 100% nailed on a penalty. So you can say we was robbed. But wasn't the best of games, to be honest with you. I was disappointed because I said we needed to win today's game. Despite the 0-0 draw today with Chelsea, I'm still pretty confident that we'll finish in the top 4. Top 4 is our aim, because obviously we know we're not going to win the Premier League. It'd be a disaster if we finished out of the top 4. But we knew it was going to be a difficult game today against Chelsea, because Chelsea have got some good players. They're doing very, very well under Thomas Tuchel. They have not yet lost under Thomas Tuchel. I think they're unbeaten in their last 9 league games under Thomas Tuchel, 10 in all competitions. Today's game was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 5th meeting with Thomas Tuchel. Solskjaer has beaten Thomas Tuchel twice when he was PSG manager, and Tuchel has beaten Ole Gunnar Solskjaer twice. There was some good performance for Chelsea today. Olivier Giroud did quite well. He had 2 good chances in the game. There was one chance where he actually injured himself. Like I said, Hakim Ziyech had a very, very good chance. Ben Chilwell had a pretty good game for Chelsea. Mason Mount wasn't too bad either. Timo Werner came on, and I think he had a chance. Mendy did well in Chelsea's goal, made some good saves. But you know what? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to improve our mentality. He's tactically naive. That's my biggest concern about him, especially in the top games. He's tactically naive. We have really, really struggled against the top 6 sides in the Premier League this season. In most of the games against the top 6, we failed to score. Draw 0-0 with Chelsea today. Drew 0-0 with Arsenal at the Emirates. Drew 0-0 with Liverpool. Drew 0-0 with Man City. Drew 0-0 with Chelsea at Old Trafford earlier on this season. Lost 6-1 to Tottenham, drew 2-2 with Leicester, and people say you've got to beat the top 6 sides, or at least some of them, if you are to be genuine title contenders. There again, though, Solskjaer's decision making has been poor in some games against the low teams. Our next game is Crystal Palace, and that's a game Manchester United should win. I think Crystal Palace are 12th or 13th in the table. We've actually got a good record at Selhurst Park. We've won our last 4 league games at Selhurst Park. We won at Selhurst Park last season 2-0. But Palace have actually beaten us in their last two visits to Old Trafford. They're beating us on the opening day this season 3-1. And they beat us at Old Trafford last season 2-1. Crystal Palace's current manager is Roy Hodgson. I think Roy Hodgson's been Crystal Palace manager since 2017. So he's been there a few years now. I'm surprised he's still managing. He's managed a lot, should I say. He's managed a lot of clubs in his managerial career. Before he's managed Liverpool, he's managed West Brom. He's managed Blackburn before. He's also managed Inter Milan, managed Fulham. Crystal Palace have actually got a lot of injuries though. But the good news is we're still unbeaten away from home for over a year. The last time we lost away from home in the Premier League was to Liverpool back in January 2020. We've been far better away from home though than we have been at home. We've won more games at home recently. But if you've noticed, all our defeats have come at Old Trafford this season. Yeah, we are still second in the table. The good news is as well, Leicester got beat by Arsenal 3-1. Solskjaer did say prior to the game against Chelsea that the top 4 race will go down to the wire. Because there's quite a few teams in this top 4 race. I don't think now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the long-term manager for Man United. I think he's going to be given at least another season at the football club. This is his second full season at the moment. Solskjaer has got to exceed expectations if he is to succeed at Man United. Like I've said, he's got to win a trophy to avoid the sack. The FA Cup is a chance of a trophy, and the Europa League is a chance of a trophy. We haven't won a trophy since 2017, and a club of our stature need to be winning trophies. Surely now Solskjaer's going to disregard the title, because Solskjaer said after our 3-1 win against Newcastle that we are still in the title race. He said the exact same thing after the 1-1 draw with West Brom, but that's just Solskjaer playing mind games, because after our 3-3 draw with Everton, he made a different admission saying that we shouldn't be considered as title chasers. We'll win another title at some point, but I don't know. When a lot of United fans don't see us winning a title under Ole. Because he hasn't got that big club arrogance, let's be honest. Solskjaer hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager. Reflecting now on he's been at the club, he has gained some managerial experience and all of that. He's been Man United manager over 2 years now. But if we was to sack Ole next season, because I don't think we'll sack him this season now, who would come in to replace him? Would Wayne Rooney come in? Would Pochettino won't come in? But he was the favourite to take over at Man United at one point. Massimiliano Allegri's been on our agenda before, so too was Julian Nagelsmann. But I still think Solskjaer needs more time. He needs at least another season. Will Solskjaer sign a new contract at the end of the season? We'll have to see. Because it recently said that Solskjaer's future is in doubt, because he admitted that he's still waiting to open talks over a new contract. Said the other week, we will wait until the end of the season to begin contract talks with Ole, and we could offer him a new 2-year deal. That's if we qualify for the Champions League. Ole's into the final 18 months of his current contract. A lot of United fans did say, though, that we give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job too soon, which I think we did. But we give him the job permanently in March 2019, reflecting on what he did in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. Did very, very well as interim manager. He won 14 games out of 19 in all competitions. Ole is our 4th permanent manager since Ferguson. We've sacked 3 managers since Ferguson. That was David Moyes, sacked him after 10 months. Sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, despite him winning 3 trophies in his first season. And we're not even really known as a sacking football club. Now, obviously, we've enjoyed good periods under Ole, where I've actually seen consistency, and there's been some games where he's got the best out of the team and he's improved certain players, but we've also enjoyed really, really bad periods under Ole. And in them bad periods, you can say Solskjaer was lucky not to be sacked. Like I've said to you before, our board have got a very, very soft stance on Solskjaer, with him being a club legend. But like I've already said, this year's summer transfer window is the biggest in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial career, because we need to make more signings. Our transfer budget's already been revealed, and it's not what a lot of Man United fans expected. Solskjaer did confirm that he's got the backing of the owners to get the players he wants to recommend in. Solskjaer recently gave us an update on our transfer plans for the summer transfer window, and he said he's only interested in bringing in players that will be a perfect fit for the club, which is right. But a centre-back and a forward are the 2 priorities. The board have got to back him in the summer, because the board have not backed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough so far. Don't get me wrong, he has made good signings. He's spent over 200 million so far, but as yet he hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in. And Woodward's come out several times to show his support for Ole, and he did say towards the end of last year that he will back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. It was a disappointing January transfer window for us, because we only saw one arrival, and that was Amad Diallo Traore. But Solskjaer said a few times during the January transfer window that he wasn't expecting any signings. But there has been quite a few players on our agenda. Earlier on today, I give you the news on Raphael Varane from Real Madrid. We've received a transfer boost with Real Madrid, because apparently Real Madrid will consider offers for Raphael Varane in the summer. He's valued at 61 million, but OK Dairo recently said that Real Madrid have reduced their asking price for Raphael Varane to 43 million. The AS said talks over extending his deal have not been settled, Man United, Liverpool and PSG are interested. You know, Varane has been a long-serving player at Real Madrid. He's been there like 10 years. He's made over 300 appearances and he's won 18 major honours. Real Madrid paid around €10 million for him from Lens. But we need someone to go alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. You know, Jules Koundé, you already know the news on him. We're unwilling to meet his £68 million release clause, but we are still interested. Apparently he's our top target, and Larazion said not so long ago that we considered the favourite to sign Jules Koundé. You know the news on Ireland, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would love to sign him. You know the news on Jadon Sancho as well. And I think more players are going to depart Man United in the summer. Like I've said, I think Juan Mata's going to leave. Martial could be sold. Narratives have been coming out today saying that we will sell Anthony Martial on one condition, and that's if we can win the battle to get Erling Haaland. We'll get 30 million for Martial if we sell him in the summer. Like I said, there's a chance Pogba will leave in the summer. I'm expecting Phil Jones to leave this year. Solskjaer did confirm that he's prepared to sell either David De Gea or Dean Henderson in the summer. A lot of United fans are saying that we need to sell Victor Lindelof. We could even sell Nemanja Matic in the summer. He's not one of our first choice midfielders, but he still gets his start. To Solskjaer's credit though, he has got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended in. You know, Solskjaer does deserve some credit in some aspects. You know, he's got us to the FA Cup quarter-finals, got us to the last 16 of the Europa League, got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season, lost 2-0 to Man City. You know, he did well last season in his first full season at the club, guided us to 3 semi-finals, got us qualification for the Champions League and got us third. And like I said, he's made good signings. He's brought quite a few young players in. I do like the way that Ole has promoted the youth. And we are second in the Premier League, and to be honest with you, no one expected us to be there with how poor we was at the first part of this season. But you know, if we make some good signings in the summer, our expectations next season will be to challenge for the title or maybe even win the title. So there you are. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.